What is up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my all new review of The Never Met. Okay, first off, let me say, Keke, you are a liar, you are a gaslighter. Okay, we'll get into that towards the end, but let's continue things off with Britt and Ty. Okay, they're arguing in the kitchen. She calls him an asshole, puts her finger in his face, so he walks off. While everybody is watching them argue, she decides to address everybody as to why she didn't want to address their personal business. Okay, because the question was, do they believe that they will be sexually compatible? Britt says yes, but she only wanted to say yes to protect Ty's feelings. So when Ty got the question, he said no, and that made Britt feel away. But Britt, you didn't believe it when you said it because you said in your confessional you don't believe you guys are sexually compatible. So why get mad about him being honest when you're not being honest? Make it make sense. So Jay wanted to ask Britt, as far as how he has been trying to show up for you, he's been putting a lot of effort into moving forward with you. Do you honestly don't think he's been feeling disrespected by you? And she doesn't understand how he can feel disrespected. I mean, the man has been showing up for you, doing everything he can for you. So it's like, what's the point? Enough is enough. I'm not getting nothing in return. And so Jay runs down every single thing that Ty has been doing to make his effort to be shown that he wants to move forward with Britt. He has brought her breakfast in bed. He has cooked breakfast. He has put all his attention on you, and yet he has got nothing back in return. But Britt wants to say what we're seeing is a one-sided situation because she likes to move in silence. So all of the efforts we're seeing him do, she's probably giving him all of the congratulations, all the appreciation on the back end. Girl, no, you are not. Because anytime somebody's asking you about Ty, you make all these excuses as to why you don't want to be with him, as to why you don't really like him. And Alexis comes in and said, listen, the man don't want much. The man just wants a hug, a kiss, a hand holding, something so that way he can know you're feeling him like he's feeling you. And like everybody else in the house, you got Jay and Cinco. They're always hugged up. You got Chris and Alexis. She's always wrapping her arms around him. Like, show that type of affection. I don't know if Britt is stuck on showing affection means you guys are going to the boom boom room. No, it could be little things, but you are not attracted to Ty. So because you're not attracted to him, you don't see anything of him that you want to hug, you want to kiss, you want to be around because that's how you're showing up. And Jay even mentioned, how about you tickle him the way you be tickling everybody else's man? And that's when Britt wants to look confused about who have I tickled. I don't remember that. Well, thanks to the flashbacks that the producers shown, she has tickled and has been touching on every single man except for Ty. We see how she's admiring Brandon's body. We see how she's constantly tickling Cinco. She's hugged up on Chris. So, girl, yeah. But of course, Britt in her confessional wants to use it as her being sociable. That's her personality. It's not flirty. Okay, well, to you it might not be, but to these ladies, it's flirty. And if you're not recognizing that you're kind of crossing those boundaries, you need to recognize them and say, oh, my bad. I didn't know if that was an issue. But no, that's not what she did. And do you not realize you're on camera? Do you not realize you're a mic up where we're following you around? We're seeing how you are around everybody else's man but yours? And Cinco even admitted, you do be tickling me. And we saw the flashback. Y'all were all in the kitchen and he's telling you to stop. So Jay says, you're acting like a promiscuous whore on TV. Now, her and Britt have a back and forth. Britt wanted to know, does Jay understand what promiscuous mean? And Jay said, yeah, that's you. Because you giving everybody else's man all this types of flirtatious attention except for the one you came on the show with. So Britt wanted to slut shame Jay by wondering, how am I promiscuous when you were bent over in the shower the first time you guys came to the house? And that was her man. That's been the man she's been connecting with for the past 5 months. The man she's been developing a whole bunch of sexual chemistry, and they decided to act on it. And it's been about her and him this entire time. She's only giving that energy towards him, and he's been reciprocating it. So I don't know what you're trying to do here, Britt, but it's not working. Please put your attention on a man that's yours and not other people's men, because you're not about to make it seem as if Jay is out here throwing that cat everywhere when she's only been throwing that cat to her man. Next. So Britt is definitely in the hot seat that she doesn't like to be in and doesn't like when things are being spread about other people. But girl, this is what everybody has been saying to you because they've all seen it. You have been putting more attention on other people's men than yours, okay? Then to say, I don't want to be involved in people who can't have a healthy conversation or to have an intelligent conversation. It's like, girl, bye. To say that I don't want to be involved in this. If y'all can't have an adult conversation, I'm going to leave. And Jay said, you can go. You don't have to stay here. If you don't want to address the problem that you've been having, then you can go ahead and leave. Because that's how Brittany tends to walk away from conversations. She can't handle when she's being called out. And obviously, she had nobody on her side. So she had to walk away. And then Ty walks back in and he said, this is a pattern of hers. Whenever she gets called out, it gets hot in the kitchen, she leaves. Alexis thought that maybe the next morning they can have a calm conversation, and then Ty just goes off. He said, hell no, I'm not doing it. There are multiple times where I'm not even in the wrong, and I still approach her. I still apologize. I still make the effort on changing, and I'm not doing that anymore because what's the point of me changing if she's not going to change? Which I kind of agree because we have seen Ty try to be better, try to do more to showcase his interest in Britt, and she has not reciprocated that. He said in his confessional, Britt was probably never taught on how to accept accountability. She was raised for everything to be done for her, and I don't roll that way. So Britt talks to her diary cam about how she was the one who carried an intelligent conversation and she wasn't going back and forth with somebody who wouldn't know how to handle an intelligent conversation. No, Britt, you couldn't handle the intelligent conversation because they backed up with their issues towards you with facts, examples, time, and place, and situations, and you didn't have nothing in return. But she also says if Ty was to come back and say something amazing, then she'll stay. If not, she'll go. What's the point of staying? You don't want to be with this man. Why do you need to be convinced to stay if you don't want to be with him? Moving on. It's the next morning. Jared and Charlie are all cuddled up. I don't know why they're here. Jared said they caught a huge catfish in the pond, but the way that he was relaying the story did not match to what transpired on the screen. It looked like all the guys caught the fish and he just walked away. Moving on. Jay and Cinco, they're having a discussion of how they want to make plans on being closer. Considering the fact that he's in Atlanta, she's in Chicago. He instantly thinks she should just up and move to Atlanta, but she gives him a whole bunch of reasons why she can't just up and move. One, she's a single mother of a child who's 4 years old. She has her life there. She has her business there. She has her support system, her village. But he was dismissing the fact that her child is small, that he would not remember or think of it any differently if he was to move to a different place. And she was like, well, it's not as easy for me because you don't have a child. I got to make sure that wherever I go, my child is comfortable. He has a pretty stable life. I have a pretty stable life. I'm not ready to disrupt that. But Cinco wanted to give his experience of how he felt when he was moving from place to place to place. He says it gave him a chance of a new character development, how it was nice to see different places and meet different people. Okay, easier said than done. You might have a different way of adapting to a new environment than her son might, but for Jay, it is a bit new for her because if all she's known is Chicago, and if her son is in that age where all he knows is Chicago, it could be a not so great experience to move to a new location that he's not used to. Because Cinco is at a place where he can pack up his computer and move anywhere. So why can't he move to Chicago? But he doesn't want to. He wants her to come to Atlanta. But again, it's not that simple. He understands why it's not that simple, but they pretty much put a pause on that conversation. They're going to have another one later. I do think that this is a good time to have this conversation, but how about you guys test driving? How about you guys see if y'all can travel to each other places so y'all can get a feel of how the other one lives? Don't make an automatic decision because they both want to move forward in this relationship, so they need to continue with this conversation because there are only 3 days left of this experience. So now Britt approaches Ty for a conversation. They go outside. And Britt had the nerve and the gall to mention that when she was in the kitchen and everybody was ganging up on her, she felt like if he cared about her, he would have stuck up for her in that moment. What was the point? Because you just cussed him out. You called him an asshole. You put your finger in his face. Like, the hell? He said, what was the point of me coming in to defend you? Because when I was trying to talk to you, you talked down on me like I'm a child, and I'm not going to engage with anybody who speaks to me like that. So I walked away. But when I did walk back in, I'm hearing that you've been flirting with every single guy here. Now, of course, she doesn't want to accept accountability, doesn't want to accept that that's how she's been behaving. She just says, no, we poke at each other. We be doing that to each other all the time. It is what it is. He's like, I don't do that. I don't tickle or touch another woman that's not mine. But she doesn't see it that way. She just comes up with all these excuses. Then he says, I am hearing people address their problems with you. But what am I supposed to believe if they're telling me what they're witnessing and I am seeing your behavior in regards to that? How do I possibly think I can step in and defend your character when I haven't seen anything different in you? So she wants to point out that there's some jealousy in the house and that other people are noticing how she's not connecting with him. So they want to attach her to somebody else. Well, that's the whole point. They're noticing how you have not tried to connect with him. You're too busy trying to be around everybody else's men. So it's a whole back and forth of her just going around the Ferris wheel of not accepting accountability for anything. It's one excuse after another. You want to just have it be understood as just your behavior, that's just your personality, which is a crock of bullshit. So he said it's not working. She said it's not working. There is nothing else to say at this point. So how about we just go ahead and leave? She said we'll leave. Great. It's been decided. Ty and Britt are leaving like everybody expected they would. Ty comes back in, addresses everybody by saying we're leaving, and Britt just kept walking. Alexis even called her out and said, "Hey, you're not gonna say bye?" Ignores her, go walk upstairs. Oh, well, fuck you too then. You didn't deserve to be here anyway. Bye. Charlie's in her confessional, and she says that I'm not gonna do what all the other girls have done when they have noticed somebody is leaving the house. I'm not gonna say, "Oh, you guys are so cute together. I wish you guys can make it right. I'm so sad you're leaving." It's like, girl, please leave. You didn't want to be with that man. You didn't like that man. Go ahead and go. And I appreciate Charlie for being honest, but you were also being fake right now because you want her to still keep in touch with you. And you guys both are calling each other best friends. You guys are both best friends with each other in this house. Okay. Bye, Britt. Bye, Ty. Ty says this is the moment where I need to stop people pleasing and I need to stop putting others first before me. I have to agree with that, Ty, even though there were some times where you got on my nerves, but you are deserving of somebody to love you and appreciate you, even if you have a big, loud personality. That person cannot make you change. Same with Britt. You want somebody to be all about you, but you need to also understand it's not going to always be about you. But they're gone. Good riddance. Moving on. So now we have Charlie and Jared. Again, they're having little conversations. Charlie now has a moment of clarity because she tells Jared, you know how we're all in everybody else's business and we're like the first ones to tell others about how they behave and how they're acting. I wonder how would we act if somebody was to check us about how we behave, check us about how we're acting. Will we accept it? Would we accept it? Jared says he doesn't care about other people's opinions. Okay. He says it goes in one ear and not the other. But yet you think you can give unsolicited advice to everybody else and call them out about how they behave, but you can accept yours, narcissist. But he tells Charlie if she tells him about himself, he will accept her opinions. He says that her opinion is the only thing that matters. Now Charlie says, I am recognizing that this man is a smooth talker. He is telling me everything he thinks I want to hear. Because now they are winding down to the final stretch of this experiment. She wants to know where his head at. Does he want a relationship with her? Does he see a future? Charlie, you kind of got that answer last week. I don't know why you think you're going to see something different. And the fact that you're now recognizing this man has the gift of gab, this man is an excellent charmer. He'll tell you anything. He don't want to be with you. His whole purpose was to smash. He told you that last week. He wanted to pretty much just have fun and just enjoy this experience. That's it. That's all. He's not in the position to want to raise four kids that's not his. He just told you that. So, Charlie, okay, fine. I don't see the point as to why Taronda wanted to come in and give a proper announcement as to why Ty and Britt were leaving and that there's only 2 days left, so make the most of it. So now Cinco, he has plans to take Jay on a personal date, concerned that their first date was more physical. It was around his level, basketball. So now they're going to a scent bar, which is very personal, very private, very intimate, and they create their own perfumes, which I do think is very, very nice and very, very sweet. So they all have different types of scents and what they want the other to smell like. So he mentions Atlanta again and how he wants to understand why he was dismissing the fact that her child will be okay with moving because She's like, certain kids are not going to be comfortable with moving to a new place. And we all know kids are very smart. They can check temperatures on how things are not how they used to be. They can check when things are changing and they respond to it in a different way. So while having that fear that I don't know if my child would enjoy Atlanta because I'm concerned about how he will adapt to a new environment, it is also change for her. If she's only known Chicago, I'm not sure she'll be able to adapt to a new environment better than her child can. And I have to make sure that I make the proper decision for my children. And he's like, I'm not expecting you to do anything different, but to make sure you and your kid is comfortable. And I'm not expecting for you to move now. It's just us working through it together, which I appreciate Cinco's patience in this. So she said that's the agreement. Okay. They have agreed to the point where they're going to leave this house as a couple. Now they have to also figure out how the scheduling works. They be around each other as much as they can. You guys got to come up with a weekend or a week that you guys can alternate. Jay goes to Atlanta, you go to Chicago. Come up with days where you can meet her son, spend time with her son. And then if you got to the point where you're really, really serious, we got family gatherings and all this and that, the third, because Jay wants this relationship as much as Cinco wants this relationship. And I am very, very happy they're having these meaningful conversations. But he says it is her best interest to move to Atlanta. But I'm like, why? And then I also have to think about, well, Atlanta has a lot of opportunities for a lot of people. And her child might experience new things in Atlanta. It's all about baby steps, okay? Not an official move, just a weekend or two. So he can see how Atlanta is, and maybe Jay as well. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed the date. So now we have Keke. It is time for Keke's truths to come out. So her best friend Maya comes by and she's very opinionated. And Maya believes that Brandon is hiding something. But I'm like, do you not know your best friend? Your best friend's been hiding something this entire time she's been with him. So after her best friend comes by, Brandon's brother Christian comes by. Alexis answers the door. As soon as Christian walks in, he compliments Alexis by saying she smells good, but then he rushes through the door to want to find Brandon and say, "Where my brother at?" First of all, rude, especially with that perm you got on your head that needs a new treatment. So he didn't even want to tour the house. And Alexis wanted to know where is he from. He said, how do I sound like I'm from? Ugh. He said, I'm from Alabama. Okay, thank you. But it was given rude, okay? And maybe he's not recognizing he has a bit of an attitude, or maybe he could be rating off of the energy that Brandon has been feeling or what Brandon has told him when he's been living here. So Alexis comes to the kitchen to tell everybody about how rude his brother is because once I asked him where he's from, he gave me an attitude. And Jay said he could be doing a bit much. I kind of agree, but maybe he's just ready to confront Keke. So my question was answered when it came down to Brandon and Christian's family dynamics. One, they don't look alike. Come to find out, that is Christian's stepbrother. He said he's been my brother since I was 5 years old because his mom married Christian's dad. So obviously, throughout their course of being in a family, he's been a part of his life the entire time. So Keke tells her best friend about how Brandon has been coming at her about her drinking because their first date, the photo shoot, she talked about how he did not fill her glass up. And when asked to fill her glass up, he wanted to know how much she drunk. But to me, either I'm not explaining it right or Keke, you're not telling the whole story correctly because I remember that date, but I don't remember him monitoring your drink like that before. I felt like you answered him either you're not a drinker or you are not an occasional drinker. It was something of that nature that I can't really remember. But Keke, what we're not going to do is only go off on that situation when later down the line you got comfortable in the house to get plastered drunk, fall off a beanbag chair, and also mention that you did turn to alcohol when your mother passed away. Just saying. So Brandon's outside talking to Christian, saying that I realize he's a heavy drinker and I don't want that in my relationship because I've dealt with that with mom's ex-husband. And Christian remembers. He said some very harsh things to you, and then you had to step up and take care of us and our two younger siblings. And he did that at the age of 15. So having that type of responsibility on a 15-year-old could have been a lot, could have been very hard to deal with. So I can understand why he wouldn't want that in his relationship with him and Keke. And again, I'm not here for Keke telling a whole different story about how Brandon is maybe the one drinking too much and he's the one feeling himself too much. I don't like that, Keke. Are you being serious right now? Like, why can't you accept the fact that you handled this situation entirely wrong? And her best friend asked her, does he know everything? Does he know about that ex? Well, see, I'm happy that you're here though, because I figured you being here, you would have the words to let it be a smoother process though. So you waited all this time for your best friend to come in and speak in a better way of why you've been dealing with your ex the entire time you've been with him. But then you also hope that because your situation is very, very wrong, you want to say maybe Brandon might have been with somebody so that we can both be even. No, it's probably not going to be the way you think it is, Keke, because you just don't want to accept that you are wrong in this situation and you don't want to be accountable for it. Then she says, I don't want to lose another comfort person. I've already lost my mom. I've lost my ex. I don't want to lose him too. That's selfish, Keke. A comfort person, meaning that you're willing to take advantage of somebody and manipulate them and not be fully honest about it. Like, that's not cool. You just don't want to be alone. So you want to pretty much accept what they can offer you, but you don't want to reciprocate that. I cannot. And I have said this when I started reviewing this show and then I recognized who Keke was. I'm not coming at her about her size. No, I have felt she has used her size and her insecurities as a crutch because she doesn't want to admit she has her own faults in her personality of how she does not operate honestly in a relationship. And she does not operate honestly about how to express her feelings because she wants to come off as she's so sweet, she's so innocent, but the way she moves is very untrustworthy. And her size has nothing to do with it. I have said it before. Keke is beautiful. She's so sweet. But the way she handles accountability and handles her type of situations is ugly. Very, very ugly. So when they introduce their significant others to one another, I was here for Christian's energy. He said, I'm not here for the okie doke. I'm here to get down to the nitty gritty. So he was like, okay, so what did you guys learn about one another throughout this experience? Brandon said that he has learned she is caring and that she's an overthinker. But when it comes to her not getting her way, then that's a problem. If you don't operate the way she sees things, she's not going to see anybody else's perspective. And he also has recognized she has an alcohol problem. Keke said, oh, really? Really? Because Christian added more by saying, he tells me that you're pretty much drinking every day. And then, of course, whenever she gets called out, she wants to add other people in it. Like, this isn't only on her, but we're not talking about everybody. If everybody else have taken a drink, that's on them, but this is about you. So again, she still likes to add other things to clear up her problem by saying, well, we're on vacation. And wouldn't you not drink if you're on vacation? Like, say we're on a cruise. Wouldn't you not drink every day? Okay. I've said this in my reviews. I am a social drinker myself. I drink in my own time, but I have a limit to how much I drink. So, Keith, you convinced me with that. And this is not a vacation, ma'am. All right. You cannot use because you're in a new environment. It's your chance to get plastered drunk. So the best friend wanted to cover her by saying, I feel like there's a bit of hypocrisy here because he tells me you drink too. Brandon said, I drink to my limit, which he already discussed that with Dr. Allen. But of course, considering on how much he is putting emphasis on how much Keke drinks, the brother did say maybe we need to put a bit of leniency on the drinking. But we're not going to act like that has to be a topic of conversation. So Christian also points out that there's a lot of miscommunication between the two of them because Christian reveals that Brandon has come down to see Keke around 4 times to meet her, and she has flaked on him. And this is what Keke likes to do. Whenever she is being held accountable for what she has done and she doesn't like the words, she wants to run away from it by saying that's not what it was. That's a bit excessive. I wouldn't say that. But come up with an excuse why he has came down to Atlanta 4 times to meet you and you have not met him. That don't sound excessive. So she did reveal that a few of those times why she did not meet him is because she was still involved with her ex. The last time was because she wasn't ready. Yeah, because you had just broken up with your ex. So of course you weren't ready to see him after you had broken up with your ex. So now he is like, wow. So you mean tell me all those times I came to see you, he was one of the reasons why you didn't want to see me? She want to say, yeah. So the brother wanted to know how long was she involved with her ex-fiance. She said 8 years. In his confessional, Brandon said that's just downright disrespectful. She doesn't want to accept accountability that she was wrong. She wants to now place blame on him, questioning him about what if he was messing with somebody, right? You could have been messing with somebody, right? And he was like, no, I wasn't. No, you had to be messing with somebody because there were times where we weren't talking for a couple of months. He was like, I'm a busy guy. She said, I'm busy too. Not too busy. You were seeing that ex though. Check it, Brandon. Check it. Like, I feel like she is trying to draw a comparison on how she looks versus how he looks, thinking that there's no way he could be single and not be involved with anybody while I was involved with my ex. There's no way. And I just don't like that. You're coming off on very surfacey to think that Brandon, who is very handsome, think that he cannot possibly be single. He probably might have been single. Now that this information have come about, the best friend wants to know, can this be a possibility of y'all moving forward? In this moment, he feels like it's a deal breaker. Now Keke wants to be mad that she never should have told her secret because she thought that he'll just forgive her and move forward. Girl, who are you, Charlie? Why would this type of news will be anything easy to swallow, be easily able to be forgiven? It won't. How would you feel if Brandon dated somebody in the midst of you guys being together and he dragged you along an additional couple of years and have never told you that he was so heavily involved with his girlfriend before he got with you? You wouldn't like that. So you can miss me. You cannot give somebody a time on how to move forward from something you did. Keke, you have to accept accountability. You did something wrong in this situation. But I do think that's how Keke operates. She doesn't think that what she does is not hurting anybody because it's not being addressed. Because she doesn't want it to be addressed. She wants it to just be swept under the rug, moved on from it, and don't bring it up again. And that's not right. Now, the best friend and the brother believe that they can move forward from this. It's a possibility for y'all to see if y'all can still figure it out. And maybe you guys can work past it. But please. But then Keke likes to throw out little seeds of negativity to still try to take the blame off her to say that Brandon likes to be Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Perfect. It's like, stop doing that. Stop trying to tell your friend and paint a different picture about Brandon because you don't want to be held accountable for how wrong you were. Because Brandon is not going to allow you to manipulate him, play games with him. He's going to check it every time. So after just hearing this news, he decides to find Alexis and talks to her about all those times where I tried to link up with her. She was heavily involved with her ex. Now, Alexis wants to connect the dots. How long y'all been talking? For 4 years. So you've never slept with anybody throughout the course of you guys talking? He said, no, we were committed. I didn't sleep with anybody throughout the course of me dating Keke. It was before her. But why is that so hard to believe that Brandon could not have been involved with anybody in those 4 years of being with Keke? Because obviously Brandon definitely gets off the type. He's very sociable, but maybe he is very heavily deep into monogamy. Maybe he doesn't go out and sleep with random girls. Maybe he doesn't do situationships. Maybe he only wants to be involved with somebody he wants to be in a real relationship with. It's possible. But I just didn't like that we wouldn't believe that Brandon would have been completely single or celibate throughout the course of him being with Keke until he had the opportunity to meet her. Now in the kitchen, I have no idea what happened, but it seems to me that the way she was explaining the story, Single and Jay were on Keke's side about how she dropped this news. Like, oh, I thought it was something more serious. I didn't know it was just like this. Yeah, he wanted to make it seem I was cheating on him for 3 years when I wasn't. It was like a technicality he wants to come at me with. But I'm like, really, Keke? So I don't know if y'all didn't get the whole story. Y'all just wanted to hear her out and be on her side, but y'all pissed me off with that shit. So he talks to his diary cam and he says, you can be loyal to somebody for 4 years and not get involved with anybody. That is a possibility. So now Keke is talking to her diary cam by saying, I am taking full accountability and I do realize I should not have withheld the truth. But she's looking at him sideways about how he's still mad about it because we're here to talk about it. So let's figure it out. But you waited until the last minute to wonder if he can move forward from this information. When you first came inside the house, you should have told him. When you had your therapy session with Dr. Allen about your drinking, you should have told him. Which ran from the accountability of the problems you created. So it was an awkward moment between them in the kitchen. They were eating dinner and she asked him, was he okay? He said he good. And then he walks off. Girl, how do you expect him to be good? This bomb you drop, you gotta give him time. And you cannot rush his time. So now it's the next morning. Jay and Cinco and Keke are having breakfast, wondering how did she sleep. She said she tossed and turned. She's feeling sad, especially because she couldn't go to Brandon like she normally would. Now Cinco understands how Brandon can be upset because he thought he was moving forward with you, which is why he took the initiative to go out and see you, but you kept canceling on him because you were dealing with another man. I do appreciate Cinco for trying to explain things in a way for Keke can understand because saying it like this is exactly why he feels like this. So you cannot expect for him to move it along and move forward and forgive you when he has to deal with what you told him. Even though, Cinco, you did not understand the story completely and gave off horrible advice, but now you get it. So Brandon and Keke talk. He says, so when were you going to tell me you were still dealing with your ex? She says, I mean, we had already formed a bond. I didn't want to shake the table. But he was like, well, you could have trusted me with that information. We could have talked about it. Like, remember, we had a challenge about not keeping secrets. And remember, you wrote it's not good to keep secrets. So let's be real about it. Why didn't you say it's not good to keep secrets and would have told me about it at that moment? She said, I mean, it wasn't a secret. It was me withholding information. Kiki, that's called a secret. Don't play with me. However you decide to decipher it, however you decide to flip it, dice it to not make it sound what it is what it is. It is a secret you withheld. I feel like she's just not getting it. She just wants to talk about how she wasn't involved with her ex. She's not talking to him anymore. She just want to be with him. We don't know if we can believe you with that, Kiki, because remember, they asked you in your confessional, do you want to be with your ex? You said, I don't want to answer that. Because wasn't the breakup very fresh by the time you got to the house? So make it make sense. And then because you can't handle on how you're being called out because you don't like being wrong, you want to say, well, he got a whole bunch of deal breakers that you got to put up with. It's like, what deal breakers? What? To say he's always moping and he never lets you talk and blah, blah, blah. It's like now you're grasping at straws, Kiki, because he has told you what he doesn't want to put up with. He does want to put up with you drinking. He does want to put up with you lying to him. And remember when you left him to cook by himself to feed everybody? He doesn't know if you are dependable. He doesn't know you can be counted on. So there are pretty good reasons why he is hesitant on moving forward with you because of how you treated him, of how you have acted with him. Kiki, stop playing. To make it seem as if he has a whole bunch of deal breakers you just cannot handle. Girl, please. And Brandon is very well within his rights to address on the things he won't put up with as you. But please, girl, you can miss me. You cannot compare on his deal breakers versus yours. You miss me, miss me. And then she says, I feel like I'm the only one taking accountability. He's like, what am I being accountable for? About how I want you to be nice to me. He said, I've been nice to you. You said, we've had a good week. I've been nice to you all week. What do you want to talk about? You said my drinking. Listen, I ain't said shit at all after your drink because you've been drinking like a motherfucker all this time. I was like, oh, goddamn. My bad, Brandon. So it's kind of like Brandon probably has held his tongue when it comes to things he's been bothered by. But because he wants to move forward with you, he don't say nothing. I've been feeling like you just been still lying to him and he's been trying to move forward with you. You've been not giving him an inch on that he can trust you because he told you all he wanted was an apology from what you did. And yet you're having a hard time doing that because you don't think you did anything wrong. So he's like, listen, we can end this right here, right now. She was like, end this conversation? No, we can end this relationship. That's what I want. Now, I don't know if Kiki never expected for it to come to that point because she never thought that her secret would have gone this far, but that's on her. So he just walks up. I didn't like the way she wanted to make it seem as if he bothered her to the point where she couldn't finish her breakfast. Girl, please, your plate was empty. You were eating throughout this whole conversation. He was not bothering you. He was not holding you hostage where you could not talk and eat at the same time. So in her confessional, she do want to fix it, but she just doesn't want to be held accountable for it. She doesn't want to be the one that's in the wrong. But you are, Kiki. I don't know what else to tell you. If you just explain to him why you wanted to hide it because you was afraid, then he'll move on from it. But again, you cannot make him be ready to move forward with you if he has not understood how we can move forward. You cannot force him to hurry up and get over because you want to hurry up and get over because you don't like being held accountable. You don't like being in the wrong. You don't like people being mad at you. Too late. Sorry. But that was the end of the episode. This week is the season finale. And I want to know who else is going to leave, who else is going to stay. And I feel like if Brandon didn't want to be with Keke, he has every right to not be with her because how much patience has Brandon had for Keke throughout this whole ordeal? 4 times he went to see you. I mean, that's dedication, but you only got 1 or 2 times to flake me and I will be gone. But I guess he doesn't want to write things off that he believes is a good thing. He probably really wants to be with her. But I don't know if she's not recognizing she doesn't deserve a man like him because of what she dealt with her ex. But Keke, get it together, girl. Really, really get it together. Okay. But y'all, that's it. That's it. That's all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye.